Western Conference Podcast, your boy BIGBODYCISCO here, brought to you by Dos Caras Tequila, Omaha. No, not that Audible. I got the Audibles in the building. My brother Jimmy G and my brother DJ. How y'all doing, brothers?
Blessed.
Come on, man. It's been a long time coming. This basically it's part 2 to the Jazz LAZR continuation story. What we doing? But how you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Come on, Jimmy. Not that Jimmy G, but Jimmy G of the Audibles is in the building. D, I see you over there, man. We still recovering from Franny's birthday, but that's neither here nor there. But if you guys don't know who these guys are, man, I tell them the Audibles are the backbone. They're producers that have been doing the things for Justin Bieber, Jazz LAZR, just to name a few. We're gonna get into all the name drops. But with that said, we're just gonna introduce yourself to the Big Body Western Conference family, Jimmy.
I'm Jimmy GIANNOS of the Audibles, one half.
And I'm Dominic, DJ Jordan, the other half of the Audibles.
How'd you just go to Barry White all of a sudden? And I'm Dominic.
It's crazy when you hear yourself.
Yeah, right?
You sound weird. So I don't know if I'm lower or if I'm higher or what
See,
it is.
And that's what you guys are. We're still at work. You're still at work too.
Yeah.
But how are you guys doing? Because we were talking to Jazz and we were saying, look, when Jazz LAZR and the Audibles get together, it's something special. So that's why I was like, you know what, I got to get you guys up in here because the roster and you guys' resume is ridiculous. But I was telling you before, what I like to do is kind of say, how'd you guys even get in the game to like that? So Jimmy, we'll start with you.
Well, I mean, I started producing my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
I got a keyboard for Christmas. And
That's always stands out, right? What kind of keyboard? Was it a Casio keyboard or was it a good keyboard?
It was a Phantom.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Phantom.
easy.
Yeah.
We all know that. I got the one little Fisher Price one, but you got the good one.
And I started just remaking Neptune's beats on it. And then finally one day I was like, oh, let me try to see if I can make my own melodies or my own stuff. And that's kind of how it happened for me.
But is that something that you kind of like said, you know, when we're growing up, we don't know what we want to do, right? But is that something, was music a passion already of yours then?
So, I mean, since I was a kid, I've loved all types of music from hip hop to alternative, but I never knew what producing was because back then, no one produced at high school. Like now, all the kids produce. But back then, that was like a thing you never heard of.
They got classes now,
right? And I always took piano lessons growing up since I was a kid. But not till my senior year, I saw Neptune's DVD, and I saw them in the studio. I was like, oh, this is what making the music is behind the scenes, and that's when it.
Come on, when you see Chad Hugo and Pharrell doing that thing, it's like, man.
Right.
But see, Jimmy, you learned how to play piano in high school?
No, my mom forced me to do it when I was.
I always wanted to learn how to play piano. I wanted to just pull up on a broad and start just, hey, how you know what I mean? But you actually was forced into it.
Yeah, and I hated the lessons, but when the teacher would leave, I would love like
messing around,
sprinkling around on my own. But I'm like, damn, this came in handy. Like once I realized that I loved doing this. So,
And how old were you when that happened?
The producing?
Yeah, when you were playing the piano.
Maybe like 6 or something.
What? Damn, God, you was early in the game.
Yeah.
And what about you, DJ?
My mom was a promoter for Universal. My dad, 80s actor. So I was always around entertainment and
you can't just throw 80s actor out there and not say anything about it. Like, was he Cleo Huxtable? I mean,
no, he wasn't like a big actor.
Yeah.
He played in like Colors, licensed to drive. A couple. He did like some commercials. He did a Stevie Wonder commercial with Stevie. He did a Levi's commercial.
Yeah.
He did was like
so he was in the business.
He was in the business, but he wasn't like super popular.
Yeah. He was. So you was around it already at an early age.
Yeah, I was always around music. I was a big band nerd. Shouts out to Valley View High School in Moreno Valley, California.
Okay.
Moval.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was just a big band nerd, and I moved to Vegas. I met J.R. Castro.
Yeah, shout out J.R. Castro, man. That's family right there.
Yeah, big fan. He's one of my very first best friends when I moved to Vegas. Him and Dane Simmons, which is Pyro.
Okay,
We started a group out here. I ended up going to the military, Air Force, and they got signed to Interscope.
Yeah.
Under Polo the Don.
Man, shout out Polo the Don. That's a legend in the game too as well, man.
Yep. And
so you was in the Air Force when JR and them got signed?
Yep, I was. Actually, they were signed before then.
Yeah.
And they just kept making trips on the I-15 to LA. Started working with a guy named Mike Jones.
Yeah.
Who's a good close friend of ours. And then they
not
started,
the Mike Jones.
No, not
Mike
that
Jones.
Mike Jones. No, not that Mike. Everybody always asks him.
Yeah.
But he Mike Jones signed him under Platinum Music Group.
Yeah.
And he helped develop them and just like grinded it out and got him signed to Universal, or signed to Interscope under Universal, under Polo the Dawn. And then they had that hit. I got out of the military. I was helping with like produce records with them, and you know I was even the cameraman, which
all facets of the game.
Yeah, you gotta get in where you fit in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they shot their first single called "Lost in Love" in Las Vegas at the what was it, Palms? Where was it, Jim? Palms? Yeah, it was the Palms.
One of Franny's sweet parties.
The after thing was at the Palms. It was the one with the lights, the Plaza. Is that what it's called?
Oh, the Plaza. Yeah, Plaza.
Yeah. And Jimmy was working with Jazz LAZR at the time.
Okay. So you guys haven't even met yet?
No, not at all.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So Jimmy discovered Jazz and he started working with him.
Yeah.
And Jimmy wanted a record with J.R. Castro and Jazz LAZR together. So Jimmy and Jazz came up to the video shoot. To meet J.R. Castro and me for the first time. And Jimmy met me first, and then I talked to JR and I was like, hey, they want to get you on a record. They were going to pay Cass to get on a record. And then Cass was like, I don't even think he was tripping off it. He's like, let's just get in the studio. So we ended up going to Odds On at the time. It was called Odds On. It's called, what's it called now? Hideout now.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, after we did the record, Jimmy played me some of his beats, and I was just like, man, this guy's melodies is insane.
From Jimmy's beats, that he produced.
On the Phantom.
Yeah.
He would bring his Phantom everywhere, and he would hook it up and then play the beats. You know what I mean?
You was that dude, huh? Jimmy just brought your shit wherever. It was like, I'm going to show these motherfuckers I can get down. But how did you and Jazz hook up? How was that relationship started for you guys?
So when Jazz, I want to say, was 18, there was a big, like, one of those talent competitions out here at this hookah lounge, and like all the artists in town, like
local artists,
the dopest ones at the time, they were performing. And when he got on stage, I was like, yo, like, who is this? His performance like blew me away. Like I was like, this kid's a star.
You kind of like knew at that point. You're like, hey, this dude got it.
And then after the show, I went up and talked to him. I was like, yo, you got to come to my house tomorrow. And then literally he came over every day.
I thought you pulled out the Phantom right there. Hold on real quick. Let me pull this out for you. So he came over and you guys started working together then. So was this post his basketball career in high school? Because this is after he stopped doing the basketball. Because he was telling us that he had the basketball passion first. And then he said when he got with you that the music book got to him. And that's when I said, dude, when I heard you with the Audibles, it was like magic. You know what I mean? So kind of now hearing the story that you kind of got with Jazz after seeing him at a talent show, you guys are going over to J.R. Castro and DJ, and it's like that whole thing. How did that, was it a competition level at that point, or was it kind of like mutual respect?
Oh, no. Like, bro, the night he was talking about, after the session, we played each other beats, and I heard his beats. I was like, how the hell does this guy get his drums sounding like that?
Wow.
Like, that was my weakness. Like, my drums, I'm like, I got keyboard drums.
So when you fell short, he was filling it in.
Like, yes, and like just his sonics and everything. And like, literally the next day after that session, I came to his house and I was like, man, he's my missing piece.
He's your Chad. He's your Pharrell. You're the Chad Hugo. He's the Pharrell, or vice versa.
So,
but it's like, you were talking about J.R. Castro, we're talking about Jazz LAZR, and we were talking about it when Jazz was up in here. Just like, the music scene in Vegas at the time. He was talking about going to Atlanta, where you guys spent some time in Atlanta, right, too?
We all went together.
Yeah. So when you guys went together, was that something that you guys already said, we'll form kind of a team, or you guys were still separate?
No, we were working together. And then I-15 had the opportunity to go. Polo rented out a studio in Atlanta for a whole year. He just, like, had the whole studio to himself, Interscope, funded the whole thing, so
and it was on Interscope's dime. Wow,
man, it was some of the most epic times. You're talking Hit Boy, Chasing Cash, us, I-15, and that's just, and Rich Boy, Carrie Hilson.
Come on, Rich Boy, throw some D's on him.
All of them were all in the same studio. Shouts out to Zach's Studios. It's not Zach's anymore. I think it's called Astro. Our boy Bills was the studio manager, and we weren't even supposed to be there. We were like, we were there under I-15, but like we were just getting in where we can fit in because we weren't signed to Polo. Polo respected us a lot. The first day we got there, we played him a song we did and a beat we did, and he flipped out. Like, he was like, "This is it, this is it." You know, Polo, how he talked.
Come on.
And we thought like, "Damn, we made it finally." You know, because did we have My Sean record before then? No.
But you guys kind of went out there on a whim, though, right? You guys kind of just said, "Look, we're not even on there. We're just gonna go out on his whim."
Bro, the day we were leaving, Jazz was signed under this not, you know, kind of shady situation. And he was just like at the studio when we pulled up and we're like,
he told us the story.
Bro,
it's crazy how it came about, bro.
Insane. So literally we were driving off and he was like, you know, I'm gonna just stay here in Vegas. And he started running. He was like, nah, I'm coming. And he ended up leaving. And something happened where he got out of the contract. I don't know how it happened, but he got out of the contract and he ended up coming to Atlanta. And we were working out every single day, making music every single day for everybody. Crazy. We got our first placement out there. Shouts out to Young Money.
Man. Tell us about the first placement, though. Don't just leave that out.
That was, bro, man. We used to work out of Zach's studios and we would go to Hot Beats, which is another studio in Atlanta. And Young Money was all there. Like Lil Wayne, Drake, Nicki Minaj, Lil Chucky, Lil Twist. And
this is where when there was a collective, they was all making music together at that time.
Yep, when they did the We Are Young Money album. And we would just go there all the time and go up there and fuck with Lil Twist. And
but still, you guys are just there on the outside looking in. You guys are not there getting paid or whatever it have you. You guys are there on a whim. You guys are there with Young Money. This is like pre-Drake, before he blew the hell up. But this is, you guys are around these artists where you guys are taking a chance. I mean, I was telling Jazz the same thing. As he jumps into this car with you guys going to Atlanta, what made you guys say, you know what, we're gonna bank on ourselves and take this trip out to Atlanta? You guys might not know what's gonna happen, but you guys obviously are gonna go take this chance. Tell us how that whole thing even came about.
I mean, for one, he grew up with I-15, so he had the relationship with them. So we were like, man, not only are they a phenomenal group we believed in, but they were signed to Interscope.
Man.
We knew we were going to work on their music, so we're like, man, this could be the perfect situation.
Perfect opportunity.
For us to help like break them in a sense with our music too, or just be a part of their music. So we just, you know.
And I always tripped off producers, like, because you guys always have all your beats on you, right? Like you have your bangers on you, have your bangers. And when you guys do get in those sessions, how do you guys say, hey, let me show you this? I mean, there has to be a point that somebody has some kind of like, oh, not right now, not right now. How are you guys as producers saying, look, when I see my opportunity or that window, that's a real small window, how do you go ahead and take that opportunity and take advantage of that? Tell us about that, DJ.
It just depends on the artist. You know, it depends on the caliber of the artist. It depends on the situation. You know, sometimes we'll make a beat on scratch. You know, we'll just sit there and cook up right in front of them. Sometimes we already we've made thousands of beats that are just sitting. So sometimes we have beats that may have been thousands of beats older or 100 beats older that we just know we've been waiting for the time. I mean, most of our
that opportunity,
bro, most of our placements don't happen till like 2 or 3 years after we made that beat. We actually just got a beat placed that's 7 years, Jim. 7 years old. That, like, when Pooh Bear told us, shouts out to Pooh Bear. Greatest writer ever met in my whole entire life.
There, man. Pooh Bear,
our big brother, man, our mentor, everything. But he always told us, just keep working, because you never know what that beat is going to turn into. It could be 10 years. We've gotten beats placed 9 years old.
Because old to you guys is new to who you guys haven't listened to it, right?
Facts. It doesn't matter if it's a hit. It's a hit. It don't matter. Timeless music is timeless.
Come on, man.
At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Speaking of timeless music, like in your producing, you know, era, who were some of the inspirations? Like you talked about the Neptunes, DJ. Who was some of the producers that? Because remember, at this time, you don't know that you want to be a producer, right? Being a music lover, what was like in the iPods back then? What were you guys banging before you guys got into this producing game? Was it hip hop? Was it R&B? Tell us about that.
Man, So I was a trombone player.
Yeah.
And I still am a trombone player. I played on our artist Savannah Blues album.
Man, shout out Savannah Blue. The new project is dope. We'll talk about that though.
Yes.
So you played on her album with the trombone.
Yes. So I was always big on jazz, R&B, 90s R&B in particular.
Ooh.
And, you know, 70s and 80s as well, but just 90s just always hit home because that was my era of growing up. So that's always been in the, you know, in the iPod. You know, we had iPods back then.
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
And Discman.
Yeah.
You know, Boyz II Men. I mean, the list goes on and on. Stevie Wonder is one of my is my biggest inspiration
Come on,
of
that's
music. Like, still haven't met him. God willing, I do. But he's the GOAT. You know,
songs in the key of life, right there. Come on. What about you? Besides the Neptunes, who was you listening to?
I mean, everything from, I mean, my parents grew up on, I mean, I grew up from listening from them, everything from Motown, Earth, Wind, and Fire, to the Spinners, my dad playing, and then, I mean, Michael Jackson, but then I would love Green Day, Nirvana, No Doubt, Biggie.
Yeah.
I was Jay-Z, always Jay-Z, like, just a melting pot of everything. And that's why I think we always clicked from jump so good, because
it was a similar.
We were like, we want to make everything.
Yeah.
We don't want to just make a trap beat or a rap beat. We want to do. We love all music, and that's what's so dope about like our thing too. So. And
I hear it too. Like I was talking to Jazz too. Like when I hear Audibles beat, and you hear that, you get that '90s feel. You get that '90s nostalgia. And that's why I was like, I got to get you guys in here because we're talking about Atlanta, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but how did the Audibles come about into this whole equation where you're getting placements with Young Money? You're starting to kind of feel each other out, where it's kind of like, I hate to keep going back to, is that Chad Hugo Pharrell type, you know, team that you guys are doing. How did you guys finally just say, look, we got to just come together and, you know, whatever I'm not doing, where I'm falling short, DJ, you pick it up, and vice versa. How did that conversation come about, and where did it come about?
It came from Jimmy's dad.
Wow.
Honestly, Jimmy's dad from jump since 2007. That's how long we've been working.
Yeah.
His dad said, if you're going to be a partner, you're going to form a partnership at LLC, and you guys are really going to do this.
Yeah.
And his dad got us with his lawyer friend. What was his name? Leroy. Shouts out to Leroy, and he formed the LLC for us. And our company has still been running strong ever since then. And
shout out Pops on the game. On the game was like, you know, well, if you guys are gonna do this, stop bullshitting.
Period.
Do it right and do it the right way.
And not only that, his dad after we moved back from Atlanta, I lived with Jimmy and his parents for like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And literally his mom made us breakfast, lunch, dinner.
It's a brotherhood at that point.
Every single day.
Yeah.
And she said, you guys are not working. You guys are going to sit here and you're going to be the best producers you can be. Period, point blank. And when
that's rare, fellas.
Rare.
That's rare.
Man, if your mama coming in making you turkey sandwiches.
But it's telling you guys to do what your passion is at that point.
Facts.
I mean, a lot of these kids are growing up now. They're saying, hey, go get your ass a job. You know, start fending for yourself. But you guys had parents who LLC with Pops. Mom saying, look, I'll cook. You guys just make sure you guys put your head to the ground and do this producing thing.
Facts.
Come on, man.
And I always, when I have this conversation with people, even having kids now, I'm like, man, if your kid shows you that they're going to go hard at something and shows a passion, I feel like you got to support and give them the opportunity.
Absolutely.
How many crazy talented people in this world, their parents think that's not possible, so they don't even get that chance.
Majority, that's the majority.
Man, it's crazy.
So the Audibles are formed. You guys are back in Vegas. Tell us how now it's kind of, who came up with the name?
It was like a mutual thing. We were trying to figure out how we could embody what we represent. And the Audibles means to change the play, and it also on the fly. Which, if you listen to our discography, we've made music from Lupe Fiasco.
We're gonna get to that.
all type of genres.
Yes, absolutely.
And it also means to be heard, and that's all we've always wanted to is just to be heard, and just, you know, our music to be heard and to be appreciated.
See, the same thing I did with Common Kings. I got to know what was the names before the Audibles. So the name before Common Kings was Not Too Soul, which is not too good. So what were some of the names before the Audibles that was thrown around and say, oh, well, what about this that you guys are like, yeah, thank God we didn't go with that one. Do you guys remember any of them?
I mean, I think the only one that sticks out was Track Team.
Track Team.
Track Team, yeah.
and it was like a double meaning, like running track. But and we still actually use that for some business stuff, so
nice.
it worked out.
Because you had like track masters, and were you guys looking at other producing duos and kind of seeing what they were doing at that time? Because you had like track masters, you had like the Hitmen that were for Diddy and them, and you kind of had these collectives of, you know, Stevie J and all them was doing their thing. But now you had like the Chad Hugos, the Pharrells, the Neptunes. Now you got DJ, Jimmy G, the Audibles. They had to sit there and say, all right, we got the Audibles are the one, but I keep going back to the comic because Not Too Soul is horrible. I know you guys are gonna see this again. We just had to revisit it because it's an awful name. But the Audible, I'm so man, because Omaha, G, Omaha.
On one.
Yeah. And now the Audibles is formed. Now you guys are sitting there saying, okay, we're talking about placement. Where are the Audibles falling into this game where you guys are starting to get these placements, these big artists, and vice versa? Tell us about that, Jimmy.
I mean, our first, like he said, our first big placement was on the Young Money album. And then our boy Maishan, we had his single. He was an Interscope artist.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, from there, Lupe Fiasco, LAZRs.
Ooh.
Food and
You
Liquor
can't just
too.
say the name without saying how it came about. Lupe Fiasco, how did that even come about?
I mean, like you said, our big brother and mentor, Pooh Bear.
Yeah.
Like, man, he helped change our lives.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, take us back to how you guys even met Pooh Bear. How did that relationship, how do you guys even say, I know Pooh Bear now? Because Pooh Bear, if you guys don't know, is a predominant figure in this music industry where Justin Bieber, just to name a few, but how did that relationship even start?
Yeah, well, Pooh Bear has always been a legend since the 112 days.
Yeah.
You know, he wrote a lot of those records when he was 15, 16.
Wow.
Which is insane, you know? So we met Pooh Bear out here in Vegas. So we came back. Yeah, we came back and we were working with Maishan, and our boy Mac introduced us to Pooh Bear through Paris Page.
Okay.
Which is another good friend of ours.
Yeah.
And we met at a studio.
Yeah.
And Pooh Bear, we played him a beat, and it was like our most insane beat we've ever made in our lives. It just had like 3 different beats in one.
Yeah.
And he like stopped it, and he was like, "This is phenomenal, but it sounds like you put all the drugs in one beat." So he helped us structure it in a way where now it was 3 beats, and then he wrote to like all 3 of them. And then from there, we would just like grind it out. Literally every single day, we would pull up and just try to impress him, try to make the best music we possibly could.
Come on, man.
And we would add so many things, like so many melodies. Like it's like we were beat battling, you know, and that's a big thing with the difference between a producer and a beat maker. Beat makers like to just impress themselves.
Yeah.
Producers like to impress the masses.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
other producers.
And other producers. So we learned the structure of how to make a hit, and you know, we just kept developing from there.
Yeah. So basically at this point, you guys are not like Pooh Bear's team, but he's hearing beats from you guys where he has the relationships with these artists like a Lupe Fiasco and such as, but now he started to say, hey, I'm going to give this beat to such and such. When is that kind of like saying, when he says an artist, or do you guys have beats that are already based around that type of artist, the way, you know, the way their sound is, or you guys kind of say, no, these are ones that we think would work with this artist?
Yeah. So perfect example. I'll give you a quick example of one of the Lupe records we did. I Don't Want to Care Right Now.
Yeah.
So Lupe came in the studio and he was like, his album's done.
Yeah.
This was LAZRs, right? Yeah. LAZRs. He said, the album is done. There's no more time, or I have no more slots for the record, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know exactly what was said or who he talked to or what happened, but like we just kept grinding. We didn't care.
Yeah.
We're like, he's gonna pick one of these beats, and if he doesn't pick this beat, we're gonna play him another one.
Lupe tried to play it safe. He tried to come in and say, look, guys, I don't want to hear no more beats. LAZRs is done. I don't hear nothing. And y'all was like, no, you don't hear these motherfucking beats.
Yeah.
So you guys kept playing the beats.
So the next day he came in, he said, I got room for one more.
Of course.
Yeah, so we played this beat that became I Don't Want to Care Right Now.
Wow.
And it's featuring Pooh Bear on the record, murdered it. And if you listen really close, back then, we were like banging on pots and pans. You can hear my voice going, like making sounds. And like we were really into crafting our own sounds. Yeah. And he ended up going on tour, the LAZRs tour, and performed the record twice every night.
Come on,
tour.
man.
The only record he did that.
Yeah. But so was that the first big placement for you guys on besides Young Money? So you guys are on the LAZRs. When we talk about LAZRs, we're going to play a clip here, and you're going to see the damn song that we're talking about. But we're talking about LAZRs where it's Lupe Fiasco's like at the peak, that I think was at the peak at that time.
Right.
And to be on that album, it had to just feel good for you guys to be like, we wasn't even supposed to be on this album at first. Yeah. But for somehow, some way, you guys got on there. And after that, it was just kind of like smooth sailing? Or what did you guys do after that?
After that placement?
Yeah.
I mean, we were on the next Lupe album.
Yeah.
Both the albums we were on, like, we were blessed to have our first few Grammy nominations. They were both up. And, I mean, man.
Don't just kind of skip over that. Hold on. Let's go. So now LAZR's in there. Now it's considered for a Grammy. How do you guys get the news for that?
Maybe Pooh, I don't know if Pooh hit us before the poll came out or whatnot. He might have hit us and said, like, congrats, guys. Like, the album's up for a Grammy.
Wow.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Birthday present. Here you go. You're nominated for a Grammy. Because I was telling Jazz, like, when you guys have that aspect as being a nominated, Grammy-nominated producer, prices go up. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure Pooh Bear told you guys that too. Once you get that billing, we're talking about now you guys are in this Grammy realm. And now you kind of like are Grammy-nominated producers. Mm-hmm. And not to skip over because you guys also worked on Common King's Grammy-nominated album for Lost in Paradise.
Yes.
So like now you guys are just hitting on all cylinders. After you use the Lupe album, you work on the next Lupe album, right? What's the next move on there to kind of say, okay, now are you guys mastering the Audible sound at this point, or you guys already have that?
I think we have it because we just do what we love.
Yeah.
And as long as we get the goosebumps, that they say the goosebump method.
Chicken skin.
Yeah. If you get that, I feel like there's chances that someone else is going to get it too. Yeah. And it's just finding the right home for that record.
Man. Come on, man. Come on, Jimmy. So now you walking around with your chest pumped out a little bit. And now you going in the studio like, yeah, we just got nominated for a Grammy for LAZRs. Check the resume. So now you guys kind of have this where you're not having to be the outside looking in. Now you guys are the guys. Now with the relationship with Pooh Bear, how are you guys starting to say, okay, let's start making music for? Because at this point, are you guys making music with Jazz and Cass at this point?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while you guys are doing that, what albums are you guys working with Jazz to kind of say, okay, look, we're still doing this, we're still doing that? What with Jazz kind of just popped off to you guys to just be like, okay, Jazz, we need to start working with our home team and start seeing what he could do with it?
I mean, we've always worked with Jazz.
Yeah.
We got so many great records. I mean, I can't even count them. So
and mixtapes that are just out there.
Yeah. So I mean, he has so much ahead of him, not only as a writer, as an artist as well. And we just want to see him blow up the way he should, because I think he's one of the most talented artists I've ever seen. So
I gotta say, so when I moved out to Vegas, and this is how I kind of got involved with DJ and Jimmy and Jazz, Blossom was out, and we were doing Twitch at the time, and Franny was sending me records. It was like, hey, you got to play this on your show. I'm like, all right, because he knows I do a lot of R&B stuff, so he sends me Best Friend. And come on, man. He sends me Best Friend, sends me Feelings. And then I'm starting to say, I said, hey, let me listen to the rest of the album. I start hearing Grapefruit and a lot of the other songs that he started to do. I'm like, dude, who's producing these? And I'm having this conversation with Franny. And he's like, dude, the Audibles. He goes, don't you know? I was like, I heard of him, but I haven't met him. So we had met one time. We were doing a Twitch show, and I seen you guys, and you guys were there. And I'm like, I ain't gonna lie. I was like, these are the motherfucking Neptunes of this pandemic for me, because that was the soundtrack for us. Tell us how that even came about with Best Friend and Feelings and stuff like that too. How did that even, because those are like classics for us. Tell us how those came about.
I mean, just going in with Jazz. I mean, we're working with him all the time.
Yeah.
And then I think, like, with any great project we've done, I feel like once you do a few songs and you start hearing a sound, it's almost like the album starts making itself.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, this is a vibe. Like, let's just keep creating this sound that we love. And I think once we got like a certain amount of songs, Jazz was like, all right, let's go to the studio and put it all together and make it, wrap it up. So
come on, man. How did Best Friend, was Best Friend like the lead single for you guys to say this is the one too? Because I'm pretty sure when you guys are in the studio, all the songs are the one, right? So then until you kind of get everybody else's opinion, did you guys know that Best Friend and Feelings was going to kind of be the standout tracks on that project?
I mean, yeah, certain songs, like we know when something's all right.
Yeah.
And we know when something's like, when you're leaving the studio and the next day we're all texting each other, like you. I think when the next day when you still feel the same, I think that's like a huge indication of something special. And yeah, I think best friend we kind of knew was special from jump.
Because we knew as soon. I'll never forget. This is key. When we left the studio, if I'm playing a song over and over and over again
on the way home,
I live far, if I'm playing it the whole time, and we're literally that night, I'll never forget this. We were texting each other, going crazy over that record, like going insane before it was mixed and mastered. All of that, it's that goosebumps.
Come on, man.
It's all you could chalk it up to.
When I had heard it and Franny had played it, I was like, dude, how come this isn't like #1, like, you know, out there? So he was like, oh, it's not really even out there. I'm like, wait, what? You know, because at that point you kind of like figure like I always thought that could be one of the mainstream like top R&B single, and then to kind of see what the process was. Like he came out with the visuals and stuff. And I was talking to Jazz one time. We were at doing the Twitch show, and I'm like, dude, how come this isn't the number? He was like, oh no, you know, it's all about time. You know how Jazz is. He's kind of like all real modest about it. Right. But I was like, no. I said, dude, me and Franny play this, and you know, people from all over the world. Because you know, on our Twitch we had people from New Zealand. They had it on their Instagram, had it on, everyone was bumping it, and just having that best friend. Then comes airplane mode out of nowhere. And then I'm like, wait, this ain't even released either? And I'm talking about these are like hits. Like, who's making the decision to say, hey, why aren't these out there being nominated for Grammys at this point? Because when Jazz was telling me his story and was telling us how the process with you guys came about, I said, Jazz, you know, and I still say it to this day, it's a matter of time before he's going to be that guy. Yeah. You know, because it takes us back to the Chris Brown records that he was written from, and you guys was helping on those as well. It's a matter of time because he just has that it. You know what I mean? And I don't mean to keep sitting here and bigging you up, Jazz, but you are that guy. But for you guys working with him, do you guys see that in the future for him as well?
We've been seeing it since day one. It's, you know, we're on the creative side. Yeah. You know, we're not so much, we are business savvy, but it takes a lot of finances to break an artist, especially in this day and age. And all we can do is make our best music and put our best foot forward and, you know, present opportunities for him. And, you know, if we can find some billionaire who wants to just like believe in music and just take jazz to the next level, you know.
It takes a lot, like you said, DJ.
It takes a village.
So I'm going to take you guys to a year. I'm not even going to say nothing. I'm just going to say 2013. We're talking about this kid. I'll just say JB. Tell me, just tell me how 2013 and you guys came about with this kid named JB.
So we were at a studio. We were working on a project with Pooh for a Little Twist. Yeah. And Jazz and our boy Kyle Massey knew him. So we were working with Twist, and he was like, man, I'm going to have my bro pull up from, it was going to be his birthday party. Yeah. He's like, I'm going to have my bro JB pull up. And we were like, okay, we'll see if that happens. And then the next night, he flew in town, and Twist was telling him, he's like, yo, you got to hear these records that we did with Pooh Bear. Because some of these songs we were about to release with Pooh. Yeah. And then we played them. He went crazy, and he like whispered to Twist, he's like, I'm going to get some of these records. I need to record these. So then,
for those who don't know, it's not Jesse Banks. We're talking about the Justin Bieber, JB. Right. Yeah, we just threw that in there. Not JB, my son. We're talking about Justin Bieber, and you guys are in there with him. Now, I don't know my timeline. 2013. Is Justin Bieber already a superstar at that point?
Yeah, for sure.
Hold up. Yeah. Hold up. So he's popping in with a Little Twist. My homeboy JB. So you guys hear him say this, that he's going to get some of these beats. Yeah. What's the nostalgia at that point for you and DJ?
I mean, it's crazy. It's funny, too, because some of the records were a little more explicit. Yeah. And Pooh was laughing at the time. He's like, I'm going to have to change some of these lyrics for you so you'll be able to...
This ain't Justin Bieber type. Right. Yeah.
But, I mean, man, after that, they hit it off. He brought Pooh on tour. Yeah. And that relationship went crazy.
Wow.
And, man, I mean, to this day, that Journals album is like a classic to us. Like,
how many songs you guys do on the... You guys did about 6 records on that one, right? On the Journals, on the Justin Bieber.
Either 5 or 6. Yeah, I think so.
Don't just be modest about it. Just 5 or 6 on JB's Journals album. We're talking about Justin Bieber, the Journals album. Was that a Grammy nominated as well?
Not that one, no.
See, that's when they said Justin Bieber was like, oh, Justin trying to be black. Yeah. He got with the Audibles, like, oh, JB doing his thing. Yeah. But you guys are, now you have Lupe Fiasco on the resume. You know, Young Money, Little Twist. Now Justin Bieber's on there. The walk has to be a little bit more than it was with Lupe at this point, right? Tell me about that, DJ. You just did 5 or 6 records with Justin Bieber.
Yeah, well, man, I love R&B.
Yeah.
When we met Pooh Bear, we knew, we already felt like we made it.
Yeah.
Because no matter if we made billions of dollars off of our music,
yeah,
as long as we're making great music, we're happy.
Yeah.
And Pooh would always tell us, it's going to find a home. It's going to find a home. It may not be today, may not be
say that again,
tomorrow.
DJ. He's going to find a home.
It's going to find a home.
Yeah.
And sure enough, full circle, Little Twist is our first placement with Young Money.
Man.
3rd single on the album, We Are Young Money. It was called Girl, I Got You.
Wow.
It's a record we did co-produced with Mr. Pyro.
Okay, yeah. From the home team. Yeah, home team. Yeah.
So we run back into Little Twist. We have a birthday party for him. And he invites Bieber over.
Yeah.
Play the records. He loves them. And we just keep cooking for him. We're like in full like turbo mode. Like
you bringing out all the beats at this point.
We made like
ones from 10 years ago.
Yeah, we maybe made 200 beats for that album. Like we just kept going and going and going because we knew if we make 200, there's a chance we'll get maybe 2 or 3.
Numbers.
We didn't think
it's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
You know, and we love R&B. This is where we're comfortable at. This is our home.
Yeah.
So we made the records, and then when Pooh would just keep calling us and saying, You made another record. Happy birthday. And, you know, and when you hear that from Pooh, it's just, you get excited because you're just like, wow, who would have thought that all this hard work is starting to pay off? Because at this time, I was barely making rent. Man. I moved out of Jimmy's house, got my own apartment with Santiago.
Man, shout out Santi, man.
Shout out to Santi.
Shout out Mr. Sucio himself.
And we were just thugging it, you know what I mean? Barely getting by, you know? And so every time Pooh would call us, it would just be exciting. We never get like too ahead of ourselves or full of ourselves because the record ain't the record until it's out. Yeah. Until we actually, even when you get a contract and you sign and they pay you, don't mean the record's gonna come out.
Yeah.
It don't. It just
means you got paid for your services. Thank you very much.
Exactly. And now they can do whatever they want with the record. So I mean, when we actually got the singles started coming out and we started seeing it and listening to it, it was just so surreal, you know, working with these big mix engineers and sitting down with them and just like
soaking game at the same time.
Soaking game, man. Like our boy Josh Goodwin. Yeah. Who's he's phenomenal mix engineer, mix for everybody. We would just sit with him and just pick his brain and just like, you know, throw vibes at him, and he would just give me so much game. Yeah. Because as a producer, you're only as good as your mix engineer and vice versa. Woo. So with that being said, you know, I enjoyed all the times that we would sit with Josh and just like soak up game, or Jason Joshua, who is like our big bro. Like,
come on, start Googling these names up, people. Start Googling these names and you're going to find out real quick. That's what G does, by the way, when we do these. He starts Googling these names. It's like, oh, shit.
I tell Cisco after, I'm like, man, you guys are so cool.
Yeah, these are, I'm telling you, like, these are the guys that are at the highest peak of the game. We talking like the Jordans, the Currys of the game. Come on. And you can only soak up good game, and they're great people. Yeah. You know, that's when you start getting to the top, you start realizing these people are really great. Yeah. You know,
at what they do and what their craft is. Yeah. And it makes you want to master your craft a little bit more. I mean, just because so now we're talking about the Bieber thing. Like, did you guys find yourself altered? Because we talked about R&B, the sound that you guys had. With working with Justin Bieber, did you feel like you had to go poppy? Or do you kind of stick to the guns and kind of say, oh, we can kind of still, you know, resonate with what our sound is and still get Bieber to do what Bieber does?
I always say I think one of our like dopest things with our R&B is we're able to make it pop. Yeah. There's just something about
tell him, Jimmy.
There's just something about like we can keep the soul there of the R&B, but I feel like just the way we structure it and stuff, we can make it pop. Yeah. And I think that's like something that we're really
it's a gift. It's definitely a gift, because we talk about that, and we talk about in 2015, you guys teaming up with JR Castro now. Now it's kind of like, okay, let's get back with the home team, see what we could do with that. Tell us how the Get Home record came about. Because that was a bang. When I was in the Bay Area, I think because Mustard and them was working on it too, and Cass had said it, and Gino was like, hey, you know, I'm sending you this thing. And then Cass was like, oh, I'm from Guam. I'm like, wait, hold up. I was like, I thought you was a, you know. So we started talking about that, and then he had kind of went into that sound where you had Mustard on it. You had who else was on that one? It was a Quavo or so whatever. Kid Ink was on it, and then it was like, okay, now it's Castro. Like at that time, they were shopping that record.
Yeah.
Now that was the home team. Was that something for you guys to say, okay, let's start unleashing what we have with Castro at that point?
Yeah. So we back to Mike Jones.
Yeah.
Mike Jones, he signed.
Who?
Different Mike Jones. Yeah. He signed the I-15, and then they, you know, they're working on the project, and then Castro decided to do a song, you know, just a solo thing.
Yeah.
And still rocking with I-15, all that. But decided to do a solo thing. So Mike was like, let's get it. MJ, Mike Jones. He's contacted us.
Yeah.
And at the time we had a strong relationship with Jason Joshua because he was mixing these records for us.
Big records.
Yeah, the big, all the Justin stuff, and he did some other stuff for us. And we ended up bringing that record to him, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we brought him the record, and we're like, hey, can you mix this for us?
Yeah.
And Pooh Bear we brought Pooh Bear in first.
Yeah.
So we introduced Castro to Pooh Bear, and then Pooh Bear helped structure the beat, the song a little bit, and then our boy Pyro as well co-produced it with us, and then we ended up bringing it to Jason Joshua to mix it, and he was like, "This is fire! Like, who is this guy?" So then we showed him Castro, and he was like, "What, bro? This nigga, he's a superstar!" Like, you know how Jason talk, and so we bring Cass in, and Jason's like, "What's the situation?"
Yeah.
And we're like, there is no situation. We're just trying to mix the record and get in where we fit in.
Yeah.
And Jason made it happen. He made all the plays. Man. Made all the plays happen. Come on.
Because now the snowball effect is going. Yeah. Now it's rolling down the hill. It's getting bigger and bigger. Take us to the next year where we're in 2017 and we're working with Biebs again on the Purpose album. Tell us about how that whole process came about. Because it's already in sync. Because you guys are already like, okay, Biebs know who the hell we are. Now let's kind of see what the next project is, because that was the one that actually was nominated for a Grammy, right? The Purpose album.
Yeah.
Man, it's funny thinking back. Like Pooh always said, like it's best to come at the end of albums, right? Yeah. Because that's always like the freshest records to these artists, and they get excited the most. So Purpose was damn near done too, and we did this record with Pooh that was like just just one of them. Hit you in the soul R&B ones. And it's crazy. I remember leaving the studio when Pooh cut it, and I told DJ, I was like, I guarantee he's going to cut this song. and literally, like, I think it was like a couple weeks later, Pooh didn't even say nothing. He's like, oh, I got to play you guys something. And we were just in the studio in LA, and he pushed play, and we heard his voice on it. We were just like, oh my God. Like,
Come on, man.
This is crazy.
That has to give you goosebumps to kind of just hear. Like now, you guys already work, but now to kind of say he might just hop on it, then all of a sudden Pooh Bear plays it, and now it's like you guys are hearing it, and now you're hearing his vocals on it, and it's like, you know, just like Khaled said, the vocals are in.
Yeah. You know? And we made that beat at Mike Jones's house on his kitchen table.
Wow.
Yep. Never forget that. It's a 3/4 time signature too, which is not common these days.
See, and I was doing, you know, my homework on my brothers over here, and I was talking about the Purpose album. Then we're talking about the Famous with Ty Dolla $ign.
Oh, yeah. Oh wow!
Come on, we going there, fellas. I do my homework. So tell us how the Ty Dolla $ign, because that was off the Beach House, right?
Yeah. Beach House 3.
How did that come about? As far as like, okay, we got Biebs now. Like Ty Dolla is like starting to creep up. Now you guys got a song with him. Come on, tell us about that, Jim.
We made that at our boy, shout out Sasha Sirota, amazing artist, producer, writer. We made that at his house. We were there with Sasha and Pooh, and we made it together. Sasha played the guitar, and then Pooh just started writing it right there and recorded it at the house.
Yeah.
And then I guess he was in a session with Ty shortly after and played it for him. And
see how the timing and the inner vine timing. It's just like, well, he just happens to be in a session with Ty, and then you guys get that with him, and then we're talking about Sam Smith. Come on, fellas. We're talking about the Sam Smith, not the Sam Smith of the liquor store that you guys are talking about with Fast Freddy and them. We're talking about Sam Smith, the international recording artist that you guys actually got to work with. Tell us about that. What was that, 2017?
20.
Burning, right?
Oh, yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, I think Pooh went to London, I believe, and he cut that with him there. Yeah.
Come on, man. Sam, now the resume is speaking for itself. You got Justin Bieber, Ty Dolla $ign, you know, Young Money and Lupe Fiasco, you got JR Castro. Now it's like you guys are in a groove. Now it's kind of like, okay, then this is how I start to hear for you, Common Kings. That comes about, and then JR, remember Mata and I was telling, hey, we're working with the Audibles. I said, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. And how that whole thing came about was like, I was like, oh, that's the one that works with Pooh Bear, and they were like saying, yeah, that's how we hooked up with them. And how, tell me how the Common Kings and you guys, because you guys vibed on that Lost in Paradise. Like how that was the you guys introduced them through Pooh Bear, or you guys knew them before that?
Was it Sasha? I just remember going to the studio and meeting them and just like the greatest people in life.
Have you guys heard of them before you guys met them?
I've heard some of their songs, like Wade in Your Water, them records, but I didn't know who they were. When you hear records and you're not like following the artist, you just know the record. You know what I mean? It's not like you know the artist. So I've heard the records, Wade in Your Water and Alcoholic. But I didn't know who they were. And my dad loves Hawaii. You know, my dad he passed a few years ago, but he would always like go to Hawaii, dated a Hawaiian girl. So she would play them songs and I would just know them, you know?
Exactly.
But we were at Sasha's house, and then I don't know if it was Sasha or how we ended up.
I think it was something like Pooh had went to one of their shows maybe. And then he was like blown away and wanted to work with them from that. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Then we met up with Pooh and them and Sasha at some small studio for the first time.
In Burbank.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I remember when they were saying, because I remember Pooh Bear, he went to the show that they were at. And I remember Stephanie and from their camp was saying, oh, Pooh Bear's here. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a big deal. And I said, no pressure. You guys got to show up. Because I was the MC for the show. So I would bring them out and I would kind of do my thing. And when Steph had said that, they kind of like, you know, it was a big deal, you know, because you don't know who's in the crowd at that point. And it was kind of like show and prove time. And when they went and did their thing, you know, he was like with it. We met him after the show, and that whole relationship with you guys came about. And I'm like, oh, I know, those are the dudes. When they said, oh, we're working with the Audibles, JR and Mata was like, bro, we're working with these dudes. I'm like, bro, those are like the Neptunes. You know, and that's why I compared it to. And I said, dude, it's crazy how the Lost in Paradise, like how was that whole vibe in those sessions going about?
Bro, so a lot of the album was done between Hawaii and Sasha's house. And before we even started, I told them that we're going to be we're going to be Grammy nominated. You can ask them if you do another interview with them, and they will tell you DJ said out of his mouth, we're going to be Grammy nominated, because I already heard what Pooh Bear was writing with them and the music that we were making. And I just knew that what we're doing right here, reggae is missing.
Man,
they were missing it at that
was the
point.
link.
And we have a great way of just enhancing artists that we work with. You know, not every artist needs enhancing at all, but we're just there to see if we can help and make their music better.
And like you said, that void for reggae at that time was there. And they were just happened to be in a prime position where, you know, that reggae sound that they had, you know, they had the following that they had, and they put in the footwork. You know, thank God it was Not Too Soul, but thank God that they did the Common Kings thing. That I seen this thing, because I was firsthand. I would go on tour with them and I would see it. I'm like, dude, you know, I work with a lot of artists, and just like you guys, like, this is the missing piece. As far as like, if they get the right, you know, there's a few pieces missing. It was like the Audibles, the Pooh Bear, and then for you to tell them that, I know, because I didn't hear it I didn't hear the end of it from Mata. He was like, it's because when they got that call, I asked him, how did you guys feel about when you guys got that call for a thing? They was like, dude, they and I'm not gonna quote myself, but I think in that interview they said you were the one that told them, dude, this is gonna be a Grammy nominated album.
Yes, I told him that, and this was our first chance. Like, we've always wanted to do a whole album. Like, we dreamed of the day that Justin would just call us and just be like, you know, I love you guys. Let's just do an album together, you know, because Justin can work with literally anybody.
Pick of the litter.
Bro, and we're so grateful and just so amazed that, you know, he worked with us, and it's surreal. But we've always wanted to just do a whole album. You know, we had LAZR, that's home. But we always wanted to just literally put our everything into one album.
And put your touch on it too, because like, you know, we had LAZR with the R&B, we had all, you know, what you guys were talking about with Justin, but you had Common Kings that was in an island reggae realm that was untapped still to this day, that I think. And to have that kind of like whole mixture of what you guys did, what they did, and for it to come full circle to be a Grammy-nominated album was huge. Especially because, I mean, if you guys already don't know, in the poly demographic, that was huge.
Wow.
Like big, because I know J Boog was nominated a couple years before, and then they came about. And it was starting to make some noise, you know, and then it was like, you know, it's not just Jamaicans that are getting the best reggae album nods. Now they're starting to get the J Boogs. Now they're starting to get the Common Kings. Soulja won last year, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's just a matter of time before these demographics like the island reggae comes along and meets guys like you guys to get this Grammy-nominated album.
And that was their first album ever.
Yes.
Like they put out EPs, but that was their first full-length album.
Yes. And they got to do it with you guys. Come on, man. See how it comes full circle? Because on What's a Covered podcast, we had them over here, and we was thinking, thank God it wasn't Not Too Soul, but the Audibles got with them, Common Kings, the Grammy-nominated artists. So now we're talking about Snowball Effect. Snowball's still going. You guys are still working, still making the beats. Now you get into this Chris Brown project where they got City Girls. And we're talking about with Young Thug, because before that you guys did Justin with the Changes, and you guys are still working with Bieber and that whole thing. But now you guys are kind of like getting to this Chris Brown realm.
Yeah.
How does that come about?
So we worked with Chris before the collab album with Young Thug.
Yeah.
Free Young Thug, by the way.
Free Young Thug, man. Come on.
It's crazy. But we did a song called Royalty, which was on the album Royalty named after his daughter. And that was our first time ever working with Chris. Chris is one of the most talented performers, singers, writers.
MJ of our time. I tell everybody every time. It's the MJ of our time, man.
Man.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people sleep on him and they just can't get over the past, but he is one of the most talented.
And everybody get over it already. Y'all don't slap your bitch sometime. Besides the point. You shook him up or something. Don't take my word for it. I'm going to get in trouble for that.
God forbid.
But we're talking about, you know, and I say the talent level with Chris Brown. Like I was talking to Jazz about it. You know, when Jazz was talking about Sex Memories and, you know, the song that you guys were working on, it was like, not because I was biased because I knew who you guys were and knew who Jazz was, but when I heard the project, that was like the one. Like the Sex Memories was like the one. And then you kind of like, okay, I know the dudes who worked on that. You know what I mean? Now you kind of feel proud as a fan of music and as a music lover, like my boys worked on that. Now you kind of just get into like where they're starting to say that you see Sex Memories on Instagram as like, you know, music to people's videos. And now it's kind of, now the social media game is into it. Because that's where I wanted to kind of like pivot for you guys, where now is social media from where you guys first started to now, has that helped? Or kind of like you guys don't really trip off social media now that you guys have it to your advantage?
We should.
Yeah.
But we base everything off of relationships.
Yeah.
We've never changed. We've always been the same. We've built relationships and nurtured those relationships, and we just keep our head down and work. The hardest part is not making the music. The hardest part is being able to pull up and press play.
Man.
Because we can make the music all day long, but it's getting into the room with that artist.
Getting that opportunity.
Bro, we played records for all type of A&Rs.
Yeah.
I'm going back like the Polo days.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Aaron Bayshuk, who is a boss now.
Yeah.
But back during the Polo days, he was A&R.
Yeah.
Just like not a low-level A&R, but just an A&R at the label. And he would pull up and he'd be like, play me beats. And we would play him beats and he'd tell us, no, we need a 2020 I'm So Hood back in 2008, and that's not even the artist, you know. So you could play the A&R game, which it does work at times, but it's a lot easier when you're in the room with the artist and you can press play. You know, it's not the
and
battle.
you got to have a confidence level.
Yeah.
So when you guys are making these beats, Jimmy, I mean, the confidence level to say, okay, we want to get for this such artist and this, but to press play. The confidence level on you guys end to be like, okay, I got to get my 5 bangers. Like, how many beats you guys able to go through realistically with an artist before they're like, all right, cool, I've heard enough? Is it 2? Is it 3? Or how many are they listening to where they're saying, okay, next, okay, next? Like, take us through that process where they listen to your beats.
I mean, for example, like our 2 favorite writers, Pooh and Jazz.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's at a point now we've built so great of a chemistry with them. Like
rapport is different.
They're damn near usually the past few years
Yeah.
recording the first beat we play. Which
oh wow.
I feel like we know what they love, we know what they're gonna kill.
Yeah.
But I mean, I always think like if you don't have it in 5 beats with the artist, I mean, you might not have it. Because we've sat in sessions where literally producers would play, I'm talking about 40 beats.
Wow.
And
one didn't stick out.
And then we would play a beat or two after, and they'd be like, oh, that one. But so, I don't know.
You do a little high five to DJ on the under, like, I told you the motherfuckers weak. I told you, they played 40, we played 2. We got this. But was that the case with Sex Memories? Because that motherfucker right there, boy.
See, there's certain records, like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people feel like this after they create something, but like, I just know there's certain records, like when we were done with it in the studio, I just felt that. That was another moment, like I told Jazz, I'm like, he's cutting this record.
Yeah.
And I think he literally cut it within the next 2 days. Like we they asked for the files.
Man.
Yeah.
Because you guys don't know, that Sex Memories is, Jazz on the pen, Audibles on the beat, and it's just the chemistry, and then to have CB sing it. Bro. To have Chris Brown just kind of put it, and I'm talking about he's hot.
And
Ella May's on, come on, man. Did Ella May write her verse, or did Jazz write Ella May's as well?
She wrote her part.
She came hard on that verse too. But she had to go off of what Jazz wrote for Chris. Right. You know what I mean? And that whole thing, like, and it's crazy to see where you guys are taking this. And that's why every time when I'm hanging out with y'all, and we were, with Franny and all of our friends out here in Vegas, it's like, it's crazy how our reach and everything we do. Western Conference Podcast, Audibles with producing, Franny with DJing, and how our circle are just so connected.
Yes.
And that's why I was saying I had to get you guys in here because of this thing that we got going on, because we're not always gonna be hot, right? You guys are hot to death right now. And there's a cold spell sometimes where sometimes you may think it happens, but what do you guys do to say, okay, not writer's block for writers, but for producers, is there a time where you kind of say, okay, we might not be adapting with the times like we should be? Do you guys feel like that's coming, or you guys are ready for that to come?
It's funny.
Talk your shit, Jimmy. Say hell no.
I was thinking about something you said before, but I think every once in a while you get stressed out, like if God, we got all these great songs, but like they should be placed right now, or we got hits right now. Like I think the most important thing to remember is, like, as long as we make the best music we can, like DJ said, like they're gonna find the right home. And I think just having the catalog of great songs, like we've learned, like don't stress out about if it ain't happening with the artist at that month or that moment. Like I feel like just making the music and having it ready, it's gonna find a home. And then back to something else you said with the social media. I think the one great thing about it nowadays is, like, when you bring up Best Friend. Yeah. I feel like that song can still be a hit.
Come on. Facts. And that could be a TikTok viral song right now.
And I love the one great thing I do love about the TikTok era is a song can pop 4 years later now. We see it with Lizzo.
Yeah. We talked about it with J Boog, Let's Do It Again. Right. So that was such a record that kind of came and went, but that was his big hit. And we were chilling, and all of a sudden we seen a few TikTok videos, and it kind of like brought him back up to charts. He was back to #1, and it's crazy how the influence of social media has on today's music, where, a beat that you guys did maybe 10 years ago can pop up at any time because you guys don't know who's listening to the music, who has the music, and what they're doing with it. And it just takes a simple upload to an Instagram live or to an Instagram video or a TikTok video to be like the next cool thing. Facts. Where they're doing all these dances to it. It's like, oh shit, we did that shit like 10 years ago.
We were literally just talking off camera before we started the podcast about our boy Sheffo, who has an artist in Italy.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to Diego LAZR. We've been producing all his music, and he's blowing the fuck up in Italy.
Come on.
It's the perfect combination of, he is a phenomenal singer, phenomenal performer with American production over it. And Sheffo, who is the brains behind all of it, it's that TikTok shit really matters, bro.
It does, because I feel like a lot of like music industry people are saying, I had Adam Grossman from Ineffable, and he was saying, bro, it's crazy how you don't really need a big label. You need TikTok. You need a TikTok hit or something like that where you could be your own social media record label if you have the right placements and stuff like that as well. But we talk about pivoting to this where it's Dos Caras, where it's two faces. People know the Audibles, right? What is the other face that people may not know about? We'll start with you, DJ. DJ, the producer, they know about.
Yeah.
What's the other DJ that they may not know about? What's the second face?
Moji.
Yeah.
So my boy Sheffo out in Italy, we're working on this project called The Life Emoji, which it's the first NFT-based animated TV series.
Wow.
So imagine, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this because of legal reasons, but imagine a famous cartoon that's out right now, not thinking Simpsons, but something else, mixed with like the Chappelle Show in a sense. Like it's crazy. And every person that owns a NFT it has a character in the show.
Oh, see. Don't get too much away of that, DJ. Don't get, because then we want people on here. They're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna get some of that right now and make it mine.
Yeah. So it's if they go, they can check it out. It's called thelifeemoji.com, and you can just go check it out. It's amazing. But we just finished the pilot.
Wow.
So I'm the voice of Moji. And my boy Sheffo's the voice of Sheffo. Jimmy has a character on there.
Come on, Jimmy.
Pooh Bear has a character on there.
Wow.
A bunch of other people have characters on there. And it's comedy. Like my biggest dream, besides making music and scoring like films, is to have like a Disneyland. A Disney World. Yeah. With like this Moji Land. Yeah. And once you see it, bro, after this, I'll show you a little bit. It's amazing because it's not it's early stages, but we really believe in it a lot. We have a great team of people that are behind it. So,
and that's why I love asking this question, because Dos Caras, we're talking about the two faces, the Audibles, where there's always something else. You know what I mean? And that takes me over to Jimmy. Jimmy, what's the other? If you have the Audibles, Jimmy, what's the second face?
I mean, if we're not making music, I'm usually being dad.
I was about to say, I kind of knew it before you said it, because you like one of those proud daddies too, because I see it on your Instagram, and I said, Jimmy like one of those happy to be, when you have a lot of baby mamas like me, you can still be a happy dad, but it's just a little different. It's a little I'm looking at this child support payment like, oh, check out baby mama gonna, but I mean, but being a dad, that's the second part of it, right?
Oh man, it's the most amazing thing ever, and just like, there's nothing I enjoy more than hanging out with them or going to basketball practices or games.
Come on.
Showing him piano stuff or like there's nothing like that. So, and
it's crazy how what your first face allows your second face to do. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that, you being successful in your career as the Audibles makes you that much more, with your kids. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because you're able to do that, and not a lot of people can say that. And we're fortunate to do what we do and what we do for love for a living. But my last question is this: we done went through the resume, G. You done seen everybody work with. Who's somebody that you guys haven't worked with yet, that you guys, if they was come in here and say right now, Audibles, give me the artist you guys want to work with right now, dead or alive. Jimmy, we'll start with you.
I mean, dead or alive, I'd have to say Michael Jackson.
Ooh. Come on, Jimmy. DJ.
Can I name a few? Or
yes, you can name a few.
Okay, cool.
You can name a few.
Thank you, because that's so hard.
Especially as a producer.
Man, Stevie Wonder.
Man.
Period. I just want to meet him.
Yeah.
If I could just shake the man hand, anybody watching this podcast, if you know Stevie, I will give you $100 if you let me pull up on him.
I still think Stevie can sing, but that's just me. I mean, we'll talk about it on another show. I think he's fooling everybody.
You can get this hot 100. Yeah. Just so
as long as we get, come on, the Audibles in the key of life shit.
Man, bro.
What's the next artist?
I gotta go with Ye.
Yeah. Come on.
I mean, some of my best memories are with Jimmy going to the concert, the glow in the dark concert, and we actually, crazy story, bro. Before we leave, Kanye reached out to us.
Hold on.
Yes, bro.
Not no before we leave. Go on, tell this story. Not before we leave.
This was
Kanye reached out to y'all.
Reached out via Pooh. So Justin was in. I think he played it in Wyoming when Kanye had the ranch, right? And then Justin played an unreleased record that we did called, what was it called, Jim? Advantage. Played him this record called Advantage that we have with Justin. Shout out to Justin, man. Justin don't even be knowing. He be just making dreams come true, like via just playing shit, you know?
So he played that for Ye?
He played it for Ye, and Ye was like, who did this beat?
Wow.
And then Justin said the Audibles.
See, that got to be one of the highest, because we're talking about Kanye, who's a producer extraordinaire himself. For him to say, who made that beat? Come on. That's full circle for you guys, where you guys are just some kids and music lovers coming to do what you love, to have Kanye West say who made this beat for you. Come on, man.
Bro, so then Pooh, Bieber reached out to Pooh, and Pooh called us and said, I don't know, Kanye wants you to pull up on him at the studio. So we're like, what the fuck? Like, yay? Bro, so I'm sorry, there's so many great stories. So when Ye first did College Dropout album, he shot his second single called All Falls Down.
Yeah.
And he shot it at the Ontario airport. My brother was getting sent to Iraq at the Ontario airport, and he seen him, and he called me, and he was like, Dom, my name is Dominic. He's like, Dom, there's this guy with a Rockefeller chain shooting a music video. And I'm like, is it Jay-Z? He's like, nah, nigga, I know who Jay-Z is. He's like, some other guy, his mouth's fucked up. And I'm like, it's Kanye. I knew off rip it was Jay. So I was like, give him the phone. He's like, I'm not giving him the phone. That shit weird. So shouts out to Jason. And my auntie, Linda, she gave him the phone. And then,
at the Ontario airport?
At the Ontario airport.
Wow.
And then as soon as he said, what's up? And I was like, Kanye, what's up? This is DJ. You know, I go as DJ. He's like, this DJ, man, I make beats every single day. I'm just like you. I'm trying to be in the industry, all that. Like, you got some tips or something you can give me? He was like, never give up on your dreams.
Wow.
That's what he literally told me. He said, if I can do it, you can do it. This was the inspirational Ye. Like, Ye was like in his bag at the time.
Man, that was pre-Kardashian pussy, so he was on his shit.
Yo, and I still have the because I had him sign the College Dropout album.
Come on.
And I have his signature to prove it. If nobody wants to believe the story, because what I need to lie for,
man,
I got the signature College Dropout album.
The All Falls Down video. We're playing a clip for this. We definitely clipping this one. But what Kanye said to you, and this is how we're going to end this. What do you guys say to the producer, the young kid that's watching this podcast, that's trying to get game from you guys? Jimmy, we'll start with you.
Man, be consistent. You got to realize there's millions of other people that are crazy talented trying to do what you're trying to do. So you got to work harder than the next person. You got to find dope writers, because an amazing beat is nothing without an amazing song. And find an amazing artist to break and build a sound with. I mean, those are the things I could say.
Jimmy, that's what I'm talking about. DJ, don't give me the Kanye one that gave you. I want your own.
That was the realest thing I've ever heard. But, I mean, I got to go back to what Pooh Bear has always told us. He's drilled in our head since day one.
Yeah.
Not only, he would always tell us, I believe in you. That was something he always would tell us. And don't think that this record that you're making right now, you may think, like you said, you may think it's old to you, but it's new to somebody else. And every record can find a home. Man. You know, just keep your head down, keep grinding, invest in sounds, invest in sonics,
invest in yourself,
with your education. You know, link up with the right people that can help further your carear.
Man, come on, man. Thank you guys for coming over here. And that's
go
ahead, Jimmy.
Real quick.
You was about to jump me in the middle of
man, you guys are gonna see she's got a couple songs out.
Yes.
But
tell me about this
album, but Savannah Blue.
Come on.
She is absolutely phenomenal. One of the dopest writers and artists we've ever worked with. And her album is finished, and it's some of our favorite.
She's bad too, because I seen the single you guys just was putting on social media yesterday. Like, she's Savannah Blue. Come on, she got that worldwide appeal too.
Yes.
And with the Audibles behind her, ain't no telling what can happen.
And her personality is through the roof. She's such a pleasure to work with and be around. She's like little sis to us. Savannah Blue, Savannah Blue, Savannah Blue. She's one of our favorite artists we've worked with. So
don't do that now. Don't do it right now. Get Savannah Blue. Go look at my brothers, the Audibles. Thank you guys for coming here because I'm telling y'all, this story needed to be told. And I always like telling it because we're family, man. And when I bring you guys into my realm and I kind of just, people got a peek into yours, come on, man. We can sit here and name drop all day, but keep doing what you guys are doing. The Audibles right here, Western Conference Podcast. Dos Gatos Tequila. This one's for y'all. Peace.